All right, welcome, busy gamers. Today we're going to be doing a quick guide over Diablo 4. This particular guide is going to cover all of the tools that you might use as a casual player. Somebody who might be playing a few hours a week and wants to maximize their gaming time. Now, I know I'm not a Diablo 4 content creator, and most of the Diablo 4 content creation out there is done with more of a committed player in mind. So do keep that in mind as you're going through here. This is for the casual gamer primarily and those who want to maximize their time. All right. So heading into the tools that I used while playing Diablo 4. The first few tools that I'm going to show you are going to be what I'm going to call build guides and tier list websites. The two that I used the most were maxroll.gg and Icy Veins. Now, maxroll.gg is got a lot going on here. So they're going to have build guides, tier lists, side quests, dungeons, bosses, resources, and a planner site. For me, the ones that I used the most were the tier lists. So if you are leveling, for example, anything in between 1 to 50, you have what they consider to be their leveling tier list here. Now, I do wish this had a tier list per class. However, you can gauge things here. Twisting Blades Rogue, Firewall Sorcerer, Chains Lightning Sorcerer all have the easiest time when leveling, and then you move down to A tier. One of the disappointing things for me here is that I played a Druid, and Druid doesn't even come in until B tier, and has primarily things in the C and the D tier side. If they have a guide to them, they will be clickable, and you can go right to that guide and move forwards with that. They have other very beneficial tier lists here. You have your Nightmare Dungeon push list, your in-game tier list, so anything 50 to 100, and that continues to be updated with guides on almost everything in the S tier and the A tier, and a few in the lower tiers, primarily because they have dropped down over time. There are a few guides here, but that does tend to indicate that they are out of date. The next one that I use is Icy Veins. I think Icy Veins has a very similar look and feel, but in my opinion, their guides are better written. So I would say that maxroll.gg has better overall players, better overall guides. However, I would say that Icy Veins writes their guides better. They're easier to follow. And so let me show you kind of what I mean by that here. Their tier lists are laid out just a little easier to follow. And then if I were a druid, for example, I can go across this top bar. I can click into the druid. Now I have best druids builds for Diablo 4. I've got my leveling build here. I've got my in-game builds here. If I were to click on that leveling build, it has your general tips, your leveling with companions or landslide, exactly what I pick up at every level. Exactly what I pick up at every level and when I make changes. And this is just very, very well laid out. Got your mechanics and playstyle, you've got your spirit boons, anything and everything you need, as well as the importance ranks of your stats. So if you are a very casual player and you are just looking for something that is outlined well, Icy Veins is it. It is the one-stop shop for those things. I will show you one other thing that I think is useful. So if we're going to go in and you wanted to just be a wolf companion build, it even has that for your end game. They have zoomed in on each skill tree point, and you can kind of move through each cluster, just copying what they have. So I thought this was the easiest and the best to use. Okay, now we're going to move on to different tool sets. These tool sets are going to be those that I used while actively playing the game, and these are going to be your resources for locations within the game and for events within the game. The first one, and the one that I found to be the most important, was the D4 Planner IO, or the Diablo 4 Interactive Map. Now, I'm going to link all of these in the show notes, and so don't worry about trying to grab the hyperlinks up here if you are not aware of them already, but this is a Diablo 4 interactive map. This one's really important for a couple of reasons. It talks about Helltides. Helltide trackers are over here. World boss spawn trackers are over here. And then Legion trackers are over here. So you get a lot of the main and primary events that are going to be occurring during the game tracked for you. Then you also have the option to basically put any and every map marker as you would like. You then can click them as you identify them. So for example, if I take this quest in Kyovashad, I can click found, and that typically removes it from my map. So I found this event, for example, I click it, it now no longer shows highlighted on my map, it just goes away again. I have identified Core Benatar, and I click it, and now it's grayed out. This is really useful for those of us who are going in and knocking off our Lilith statues as we're doing quests, who want to make sure we do each and every event at least once. And that is something that I have cared about throughout this. You can see I basically have it showing waypoints. So waypoints I don't have, altars of Lilith that I don't have, and as I go in there, I just track them. So you see a lot of them have been found and grayed out, but some of them haven't been, as I have been lazy and not always gone in and found them. I typically use this by searching for in this search bar where I want to go. For example, if I wanted to go to Saragar, I would search for Saragar. It will then remove all markings that are not Saragar, and I just go out and look for that. Now, I have clearly spelled that incorrectly, so we'll just go with Kyovashad here. Anything with KYO, Kyovashad Waypoint, Mallwood, the Core Daragon Barracks, those will now be the only things that show up on my map. So, excellent. I think this is a very useful tool and something that I recommend everyone do. I use it primarily to get rid of my side quests, but these are definitely things that you can add, subtract. All right, let's move on to another useful tool in the same vein. This particular tool is the Helltide Tracker. We won't cover this one quite as much because it's a tool that you'll use post level 50. Or, well, at least you'll use it after you've unlocked World Tier 3, which happens after the end of the campaign and the completion of your capstone dungeon. Most people are going to do this in between level 48 and 52, depending on your skill level and your desire to move forwards. I would say the majority of the casual players are probably going to do this around level 50 exactly, and so that's why I said 50 initially. This particular tracker will show what you're seeing here during an active Helltide. So you see we've got 4 minutes left of the Helltide. It's also tracking your world boss spawns just like we saw in that interactive map, but the majority of the things that we care about here are the Helltide. Helltides will be shown by this red area on your map. You'll see this in the game as well, and you'll see several chests spawn within that. Now, the reason this is going to be important is there are several different kinds of chests that you can acquire during a Helltide. I would make the case that there are only a few types of chests that are actually things that I would say you should spend money on them. And when I say money, there is a special currency within a Helltide. They are cinders, and you are going to spend them on the chests located within these orange areas. These orange areas show where the most valuable chests can spawn, and then they will go ahead and pop into a specific area throughout that. Players verify that over here, so you see that players have verified whether these chests are there or not. A particular chest has been verified 194 times, and therefore you know you'll need to go to that chest, and this one as well. The longer you have been in a Helltide, the less you're going to want to check these orange areas, and the more you're going to want to just go in and find the actual chests that have been populated on the screen. This is very useful because these are the most valuable chests that you'll find in a Helltide. The only other chests that you're going to want to look for are the ones that cost 75 cinders instead of the 175 for these chests that are here and marked. So especially if you start to run out of time within a Helltide, you're going to want to run in there and only pick up the quick 75 ones. With 3 minutes left, I'm not going to be able to pick up anything, so this tool will only be useful to me again in another about 1 hour and 15. All right, the next type of tool that we're going to cover is the YouTuber. So the first tool, or the first person we're going to cover here, is DM Diablo 4. When it comes to Diablo 4, I think this particular individual does the best job at just explaining things quickly, efficiently, and easily, and I really do enjoy their content. If you're looking for videos over Diablo 4, they have a huge variety. They'll talk about different builds, they'll talk about seasons, they'll talk about different levels, and what all is going on with the game. Now, I might not love all of their thumbnails here, but I think they are very easy to understand and very well presented. The other YouTuber that I will suggest here is Riker. The reason I'm going to suggest Riker is not because he has been all in covering Diablo 4 like DM Diablo 4 is. However, Riker has just been around for the ARPG genre and the Diablo game series for the longest. And so when it comes to early news and things of that nature, Riker is going to be a great person to find that from. You see, his most popular videos are from about 3 years ago when he was covering Diablo 3 a little heavier. However, he does have playlists dedicated and focused specifically to Diablo 4 and Diablo 4 overall. He's got lore videos, he's got gaming news, he's got interviews with the designers. This guy does it all, and he is still consistently putting out videos. So, of the YouTubers I would suggest following, these are the two cream of the crop, the highest level for me, and the ones that present things clearly without too much of a personal bias. Several of the other YouTubers I think that cover this particular game do have spikes in their opinions and their complaints when they're frustrated, and that's easy to do. I do it myself sometimes, but that's not really what I would recommend you watching as overall content creators. All right, well, that is my quick video for the day. I hope that you casual players and even anyone else who is watching this has gotten something out of the video. Until the next video, enjoy gaming.